Οι πρόσφατοι σεισμοί στην Τουρκία, οι φωνικοί σεισμοί στην Τουρκία, έχουν αλλάξει κάπως τις διμερείς σχέσεις ανάμεσα στην Ελλάδα και την Τουρκία. Πριν από μία εβδομάδα βρέθηκα στο Βερολίνο, όπου είχα την χαρά να συζητήσω με πολλούς ανθρώπους για αυτή την αλλαγή των διμερών σχέσεων. Έχουμε μαζί μας σήμερα έναν άνθρωπο ο οποίος είναι ο επικεφαλής του τουρκικού τμήματος της Deutsche Welle, ο Dr. Ερκαν. Ερκαν, good afternoon. It's really nice to have you here. Thank you for your appearance.
My pleasure, Yanis. Thank you very much.
I met you a few days ago in Berlin, and we have the opportunity to discuss some issues about the bilateral relations between Greece and Turkey. And in some cases, or including the polarization between politics and public discourse, and of course polarization among media in both sides. The first question I'd like to address you is, how do you see this recent period after the earthquakes in Turkey, if there is any chance to see a new era of bilateral relations between the two countries?
To be honest, Yanis, I don't think so that the relations between Turkey and Greece will be better than it was before. Because the reason is that Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the president of Turkey, he needs the power in his country. And he just got the power in his country right while he's got, he's making any kind of problems with foreign affairs, you know. In the past, he had issues with NATO, with Sweden and Finland. Therefore, he's got issues with Greece, with Prime Minister Mitsotakis. And I think this is a very good problem that he uses. He likes to have problems because then he can show interior, I am the strong man, I am the strong leader, and if Greece will do anything that we don't like, or if they act anything, they do anything that we don't like, then I can say, be careful, one night I will come over. And this is something which is not very appropriate for a leader of a huge country like Turkey is.
Do you mean that if President Erdogan loses the elections to come, this situation could be changed? I mean, if somebody else is in the head of Turkey, could we have a different situation between the two countries?
Yanis, to be honest, the situation between the people of Turkey and the people of Greece have been always good. Unfortunately, always the politicians who make the issues. And not only me, especially a lot of political experts say that a future president, which will not be President Erdogan, might definitely make the relationship a little bit more smoother between both countries. And I believe in this kind of explanations because, as I said, there was a period where Mitsotakis and Erdogan have been close friends and have been good allies, not even in NATO. The whole economy within Turkey and Greece have been very successful. But Erdogan needs an enemy, and the enemy is unfortunately Kyriakos Mitsotakis. So therefore, I think, and most of the politician experts think, that in the future, when we have a new government without Recep Tayyip Erdogan, then the relationship on the diplomatic way between Turkey and Greece will be much more better than it was now.
Yes, but do you think that we also have to focus to some other issues like culture and educational exchange, economic cooperation, or maybe environmental cooperation, because we have some common issues there?
Absolutely, Yanis. I think that the educational issues are very huge. I mean, the whole situation between our histories, between the history of Greece and Turkey after 1923 should be in the school books of the kids, and we have to we have to educate our kids in a more modern way and not focus on the past too much. And of course, you mentioned it, the agricultural way or the climate change, these are also issues that there have been in Greece and in Turkey. And with two neighbors who are so close, then we have definitely the opportunity to work with them together. I mean, we faced also in Turkey a lot of problems with the climate change, and Greece has got also the problems. And I think the economic issue is also a very bright that we can see. So I think that both countries should we get more closer. I mean, as I said, the people of both countries are close enough, but the politicians and the diplomatic way has to be more closer and has to be more reliable. This is something very important. I think reliability is the key word, because in the past, none of them could rely on the other. The only reliable the only reliable institution that we have is NATO right now. And I think it's not fair if one country is saying bad words about the other country, because we are close friends and neighbors.
But as far NATO doesn't seem that any will to involve in bilateral relations. I mean, they kept saying, okay, find out a solution among you two. They don't seem any tension to get involved in this.
That's very right, absolutely. But I think the role of the United States of America and a lot of countries within the European Union who are NATO members, I think behind the scenes there are definitely talks. And you know that Secretary Blinken was a couple of days ago, or yesterday and the day before, in Ankara and had talked with President Erdogan and his opponent from Turkey, Mevlut Çavuşoğlu, the foreign minister. And I'm pretty confident that not even the whole earthquake situation, which is a major catastrophe right now in the country, and I think that the earthquake also helps us to come together again. I mean, we saw a lot of rescue teams from Greece. We saw a lot of people which were rescued by the Greek authorities. And I think this is a small step, but come back to the NATO issue. I'm very confident that the United States of America, who are the leaders in the NATO allyship, I think that they will definitely will talk a strong word within the whole situation, and will talk to both countries in Athens and in Ankara, and will tell that they have to calm down and slow down the tension between between the two neighbors.
Yeah, that's true. I'd like to ask you something else. I mean, we see many times contentions and conflicts between two countries raising up whenever we have a refugee crisis. Now, after this big earthquake in Turkey and Syria as well, there is a possibility that those refugees flows will increase. So, do you think that this is an issue that we have to deal with some better perspectives than we have done so far?
Absolutely, absolutely. Within this whole refugee problem that we have right now, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people, not only from the Syrian border, but especially from the Turkish border, will try to use ways to escape, really to escape from this catastrophic area. And I think that the two governments, of course, they are right now in a kind of election mood, but without the election thing that we face in the next month, I think that both countries have to talk and find solutions how they can solve this refugee crisis right now. Because in the past they didn't talk, and Erdogan said, I opened the gate and everybody can flee through Greece. And I think this is not very diplomatic answer. And this is, of course, not an appropriate acting of a leader of this kind of country. So therefore, I hope so, that we will find a diplomatic solution because of the refugee crisis. Otherwise, we will fail in every kind of way.
Yes. Let's move to another topic now, but it's still related. I mean, I'm talking about the effect that all this tension between two countries has to the media. We can observe a polarization among media in Greece and Turkey as well. And I know that you are head of the Turkish department of Deutsche Welle, and you have the opportunity to observe the media reactions in many terms. So you think that we have lost our way in talking about the media, we journalists or the publishers, and we have been a part of the problem and not a part of the solution?
This is a very tough question, Yanis, but I can tell you that 95% of the Turkish media is related to the government or controlled by government leaders, members, or friends. So therefore, I think if we can focus on that 5% who are trying to be a little bit more independent, within these media outlets, you can see that they want to be a solution for this whole media issue. And especially we as Deutsche Welle, with our language departments, we always cooperate with our Greek department, and the head of the Greek department, Mr. Spiros Moscovu, is also a very close friend of mine, and we have always very good talks. You know, for us it's very important that these talks should be on the media side as well, in Turkey and in Greece. I mean, otherwise, the media, which is controlled, as I said, by the government, is still trying to put some more oil in the fire. And this is something that we don't need, because we don't want this kind of acting like the media is doing. So in that case, it's very important that media outlets like you are working for, or I'm working for, is doing good cooperations and trying to be in a communication, so there we can show the people of both countries, which is very important. And the important thing is that we should be always in communication and have to talk within. Because if we don't talk to each other, then we don't know what the problem is, and we will never find a solution.
Yeah, I think that the picture in Greece is not very different. Maybe the government here does not control the 95% of the media outlets, but the media landscape is more or less similar, because, you know, they don't control the media, but they manipulate the media. In Greece, I think that you have a clear picture of what's going on in Greece as well. So is it time to discuss, to talk about media freedom in Greece and Turkey?
Absolutely, absolutely, especially in Greece, as you mentioned it. I feel very sorry when I see the billboards and it said Turkey the enemy, or Turkish is this, Turkish is that, because I feel I'm very sad about this. And the same situation is especially in Turkey. I don't like it if Turkish media see the Greek people as the enemies, because you are not the enemies. It's the politicians who make the whole situation much more worse. So in that case, if we allow the media these kind of things, then we will never find a peaceful way in the future. So therefore, I always express myself to other media outlets to show how the situation is truly, and not, as I said, put more oil in the fire. Mm-hmm. Of course, the whole thing is very important that we love freedom of speech, we love freedom of press, and we love, of course, the freedom of media. But right now, I don't see any kind of freedom in the media within Greece, and especially not within Turkey.
If we had some bigger independence in media outlets in Greece and Turkey, do you think that they could manage to impose a new agenda, or to any way unwind the tension among those two countries?
I mean, Yanis, the problem is that we are always, as a communication people, as journalists, we're doing agenda setting. And if we set the agenda in an opposite way, like that the diplomatic people are doing. So then we have a chance to show the public how the truth is and how the real life is. If we don't do agenda setting, then we have a major issue in the future, as we had in the past right now. So therefore, we have to show the truth and show the fact. Otherwise, we will never ever find a peaceful relationship with each other.
Erkan, what does German media do that gives them a bigger, a huger independence in comparison with Greek or or Turkish media outlets? What do they do different? You are working in this landscape. I know that you are an expert there. So I would like something like an advice. What should we do better to have a better landscape of media in Greece?
Yanis, the problem is in Turkey that we have huge management agencies or construction working firms, companies who have media outlets, you know, and they are controlling the media. These kind of things we don't have in Germany. In Germany, we have small outlets who are independent. Of course, we have media outlets who trying also set the agenda and trying to blame the government, trying to blame the refugees, trying to blame the foreign people living within Germany, and trying to make or bring up the tension between the people, but they will fail in the end because German people know where they can get true stories and true information. And this is something very important. And I think that the public broadcasting system that we have in Germany is a role model for every kind of public broadcaster, as we see in other European countries. In Turkey, we have just one public broadcaster, and this is controlled by I have to say, by the foreign ministry. In Germany, we have plenty of public broadcasters because we have a federal system in Germany. So therefore, every country has this own public broadcasting system. And I think this is very important. In Greece, we have to have also public broadcaster, which is financed by the people, or like Deutsche Welle, financed by the German Bundestag, by the German federal government in Germany. And in Greece, it also be something like that, because then media outlets will be more reliable and will be more trustful for the people in the country. Otherwise, as I said, we will get in trap of those kind of media outlets who will unfortunately trying to put fake news and false news and are lying with their media broadcasting.
One last question, dear Erkan. Do you feel any danger because of these huge social media platforms that they replace in day by day the traditional media system, and they have become already media themselves, but they are serving fake news in big amounts, so they are, you know, changing our role models and our business models in media landscape?
Yanis, I think you and I are the dinosaurs of the media. So we're not, when we start with journalism, there weren't any kind of social media platforms, and we have to get used to the social media platforms. I think the education of journalists are very, very important. If we let the social media platforms to amateurs and to people who call themselves journalists but who are not journalists because they didn't study it or didn't get any education in that branch, then the social media will take over, and fake news will be much more brighter in the whole society. And therefore, we need very good educational system in the universities, within the schools as well. And then we will have good educated journalists who use social media and who will be reliable for the public. Because I think when we allow these kind of people doing any kind of news, I mean, I can, in social media, if somebody is twittering and said A, B, and Z is a bad person, he's a thief or whatever, so most of the people will believe him because he's got high followers. But this should not be a criteria. The criteria is that we have to face the real and truthful journalism, and the education, as I said, very important. But I can say that I'm scared a little bit because I have kids who use social media, and I'm trying to show them how they have to use social media, because hate news and fake news are present everywhere, and we have to keep the people in the safe area. And of course, we have to keep our kids in a safe area when they use social media.
And of course, we should probably need media literacy for everyone, not just for the students of journalism, but for every user of those platforms. It's very important.
Absolutely. In that case, as I said, if somebody posts a kind of hate speech, we have to immediately take this tweet away or this post away. And of course, there had to be a very solid community management within the media, the social media platforms. Otherwise, fake news will come abroad, and we will not have a chance to show the truth of the whole story. This is something very important for the future.
Will there be the elections at May 14 in Turkey, Erkan, or will they be postponed? Because I read somewhere that it's unconstitutional to postpone them. What do you think?
Exactly. This is something very important. The original date was June the 18th, but President Erdogan has to put it in the beginning of spring, because otherwise he don't have the chance to get re-elected as a candidate. Because he will be then he's in a gap, in the time gap, you know, and so therefore he had to put the election on May 14th. But right now, I'm confident that the Turkish people believe in the elections, except the whole situation that we have to face in southeast Turkey and north of Syria with the earthquake situation. But Turkey is a very developed country of what digitalization is. And I think if the government have got the will to make these elections come true, then they will have to build up poll stations and voting stations and allow the people of Turkey to vote and to be responsible for this kind of elections and do their democratic vows. So therefore, I think, I have to say that I pray, because from believing, I'm over-believing. I'm praying that the elections will be held on May 14th. Otherwise, we will still have a huge crisis in Turkey. Of course, we have a huge crisis in the economy, but the elections should be held on May 14th.
Erkan, I want to thank you very much. I want to express my deep condolences for the people that died or lost their relatives in the earthquake area. In behalf of all the people that were working here, and I really want to thank you. It was a great honor and a great pleasure to have you here with us tonight. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much. Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Ευχαριστώ και εγώ. Goodbye. Good night, Erkan.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Κυρίες και κύριοι, σας ευχαριστούμε και εσάς για την προσοχή σας. Καλό βράδυ σε όλους.